So basically we're going to be looking, and it's just totally informal, so just feel free to answer as much or as little as you'd like. But basically in any realm of your life, whether that be with your health, with your spirituality, with your relationships, or as like your jobs, or basically anything that you're setting yourself a goal for, and like that something that needs a lifestyle change. So, you know, basically
okay, just anything that I've been changing. Yeah, well, I feel like all of it has been changing, and I've been taking the steps towards that. I think, well, coming to UIC was just because I wanted to finish my bachelor's. I've been working for about like 4 years, but it's like, okay, I wanted to finally get like, you know, professional, like, you know, just finish my bachelor's, probably get like, you know, looking into grad school and like teaching license. I always wanted to be a teacher. So I am a tutor currently, which is great, but it's like, yeah, goals, you know, like a more full-time job, you know, a salary as opposed to part-time jobs type thing. So that was the change that I needed, and I thought that I was like, okay, getting my bachelor's in grad school was like that step that I took. And then also, I think, well, I think the spiritual is kind of like mixed in with the like the physical. So I think between all of that, since like my life kind of changed because, you know, I was like in school and just doing everything, and then once I graduated, I would just like all my jobs were just like part-time here, part-time there, but it was like very just like I didn't move around. It was just like meeting at a library or at a computer lab, or offering tutoring services. You're kind of just sitting there waiting for students. So I didn't end up like, you know, gaining some weight, and I was just like, oh, you know, and just because I do have a son, you know, and I kind of would be like less active with him or with me and everything. And so, yeah, so going back to school, I was like, okay, well, I want to make a complete change of like everything. You know, I got to get into like a healthier kind of like weight. And then I guess more of like a healthier like relationship with both myself and with food. You know, I think like comfort eating is like such like a typical thing. Like if I'm stressed, it's just like, you know, and I learned how to cook and I learned how to bake. So that was like a way for me to like deal with a lot of stress. But it turned into like, then I would gain the weight and it would just be more stressful. And I'm like, this isn't helping. So I think over the summer, pretty much right before I came to UIC, I decided to go on a keto diet. And I think now I've lost like 50 pounds, you know, so it's been like a great thing. And now I'm focused on like getting the weight off was like really helpful, because it gave me back like my energy, you know, because when you're kind of like overweight, it's like you want to work out, you want to do this, but you're tired, you know, just being heavier, just like, and it was so sudden too, you know. I feel like right now this is like my normal, like this is how I was pretty much, like, you know, like 18 to 25-ish or whatever, and it was just like recently. So yeah, so then my goal was like, okay, well, I want to be fit, like more like strong, you know, just type of thing, you know, so I can keep up, you know, with my son, and then just not get into the lifestyle, or I guess this excuse of, you know, like, oh, now I'm heavy and now I'm overweight and I just want to like sit back and everything just seems like such a drag type thing. And I feel like that wasn't a very healthy way of looking at like myself or my goals, and it definitely did impact like my relationship. I was like, oh, you know, because you know, when you are a certain way, you do feel like no one's gonna look at me or like type thing. But I feel like with just like, you know, like learning like what, you know, what keto was, and just like understanding like, I don't know, I guess I tried to learn like what like more like how my body worked, and then just like a healthier kind of, I guess, relationship with food, you know, being able to cook things that like, oh, they're still healthy, you know, but it wasn't just overindulging. And if I did want to make cake or cupcakes, I had to be like on the weekends or every other week, you know. So I guess that's self-control. So with the spiritual thing, like it helped me understand like I'm thankful that I have a body that's trying to keep me alive. You know, like I have to eat like very little, and but then it's also like the whole self-control thing. So it kind of helped me, and you know, just coming out of Lent too, like that's kind of like the whole idea of like giving something up, into realizing that's like, yeah, you know, I think I have, you know, I give thanks to God, and He's given me in abundance to where I almost have to be controlled with it, and I just like take in anything that I want, like everything I see. So I guess now my goal is, you know, I did lose a lot of weight, but I'm still technically overweight, you know, so I still have more to go. So it's just to keep up with it, and then transition to then like a low carb diet. Because ketosis is supposed to be like almost like no carbs, so it's really, really extreme and really impossible, and it's not supposed to be like long term. And I know that, but I think that being able to cut it like cold turkey has kind of given me that feeling of like, okay, now that I've let it go and I know I can survive without it, now I'm able to bring it back in a more controlled manner, like keeping like the low carb thing, because that's more sustainable. I guess it was more about like having a lifestyle change. That's what I was trying to say. Because I knew that if I, lost all this weight and I just like, oh great, I lost the weight, and then I would just go back eating how I was before, then I probably, it's, if it was easy to gain the 40 pounds, I could gain them again,
So do you feel that through this process it's more of, like, sure, it's a lifestyle thing, you're eating like a healthier diet because you're trying to, have more energy to feel better, or do you feel that it's more, like it's more deeply ingrained, as in like the self-control as you talked about before?
Yeah, I think it's a good balance of both, because it kept going back and forth. Like I would try to figure out like, okay, well, what, if it's like I'm going into ketosis, like what does that mean, and what foods have what amount of, just like the macros and the micros, and just all these words that just, you hear them everywhere, and like no one even knows what they mean. And everyone just like, oh, do you think healthy? Like, okay, if I just eat fruits and vegetables, I should be fine. But then, I would read guys who are like, well, yeah, but you have to be careful with fruits because they're just really high in sugar, and it's the same thing as eating candy. And then it's like, stay away from like breads and pasta. And I was like, but I thought that would be okay. And you know what I'm saying? So it's just like really understanding, just looking at the nutrition. I'm like, okay, what exactly, like, what does it mean? Carbs and sodium and sugar and fiber, like everything. And then once I kind of like understood it, it kind of made me, it helped me make better choices, because then I had a better, like, I guess it's easier to control yourself when you have, like, why, and it's not just, like, a rule. Like, yes, this, no, that, but I don't know why, so it's easier to, like, cheat, that type of thing. But
so you feel that, like, having the knowledge has empowered you to, like, make your better decisions?
Right, exactly, because I feel like, once understanding that, saying, like, oh, right, like, you can take a Bio 101 course and be like, oh, yeah, cellular respiration, and, plant cells, like, turn, water into, like, sugar, and then animal cells turn sugar into energy. And all of this, but it doesn't really, like, sink in. It has nothing to do with food, until I was like, oh, that makes more sense. Like, like, our bodies, like, we need energy, and to have energy, we consume, sugars, and then you have, like, like, breads and pastas are, like, the big sugar, the big carbs, and then the simple carbs, and understanding how, like, that's why when you exercise, you carb load the day before, because it takes a while to break it down, so then I mean, what you so it's just these things that's like I just randomly like would learn, but then it wouldn't extend to like how I would eat, because if I didn't make that connection, I'd be like, oh, okay, like today, whatever, I could just, I'm gonna have, like, chicken and vegetables and yay, and then the next day I'm like, screw it, I want a cheeseburger, and I want, like, pasta, I want some cake, so that, I guess, that connection, like, since I wasn't making that connection, it was hard to know, like, what yes was and what no was.
Sure.
And I feel like when you're very focused on, like, I can't have that, it makes you want to have it, it's where I know I would just binge eat, I would be, like, doing okay, and then I'm like, oh, I don't even care, and just a bucket of ice cream, things like that, not helping. But I feel like once I understood that it was, about amount, and that's what I meant about, like, the self-control, I guess, it kind of empowered me. It's like, I can make choices because I understand why, and I understand how my body works. It's like, I guess I learned to listen to my body and to respond to it, and then to how to take care of it. If I did have a craving, it's like, okay, like, this food tastes good, and it's supposed to, because your body, like, wants to eat it, and it's like, I could have it in a small amount, if I'm staying under, like, 20 grams of sugar, and it's like, okay, but this is, this amount is, like, 3 grams. So, yes, I can have that. Like, I can eat a cookie, and I'm not going to gain anything, but that doesn't mean eat a box of cookies, and just making that decision as opposed to, like, yes, cookies or no cookies, just kind of, like, makes everything just so much easier.
Being educated about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with that, just seeing myself, like, being able to make these choices and seeing the results, to be like, oh, because it's still the whole, like, if you eat something, you're going to gain weight, and I would eat, like, a cookie, and I'm like, oh, no, and I would still lose, like, the 5 pounds, and I'm like, oh, I think I'm okay, it's not that big a deal, then, yeah, just, like, the appreciation of, like, okay, I guess, like, the whole self-control, like, and, because I remember, like, I was talking to a priest, and he was saying, like, the reason we give something up, you know, to detach it is to train us for other things, you know, so kind of like bad choices I was making in myself or like with relationships, you know, when it comes to like boys, I was like, well, why am I making these choices? And I think it was because of like the self-control. It was either yes or no. And if it was no, I would just stay away and shut everybody out, like isolate myself. And then that gets too lonely. And then when it would be like a yes, it would be like, oh yeah, sure, you know, like experiment with people. To where it was literally either or. And I was just jumping back and forth, and I saw it was like, well, so I guess I saw like the whole my relationship with food was like a symptom of my own not knowing how to control myself in relationships type thing. So it kind of like is all slowly becoming, you know, the moment that I'm able to like make these small choices with food, you know, and just saying like, okay, I can make a choice, but it has to be like a little bit, and you know, I'm not gonna die, you know, it doesn't have to be like, no, I'm not even gonna look at it, you know. I think with relationships, it kind of helped me like have just like a better look at of like, yeah, you know, like I can have friends and I can do this, and you know, now I'm dating, so like I think that's really helped me kind of prepare to like be in a relationship again. You know, so it's like, yeah, like we need to understand each other's boundaries. You know, we are Catholic. This is what the church teaches. You know, and then just understand that doesn't mean like, no, I can't even sit next to you. Make room for the Holy Spirit. You know, like that just doesn't work because it makes you just want to do everything. And the thing that's just that boundary. So I see myself like, yeah, that's how I do with food. It's not like I can't even smell sugar. No, I can be around it. And I can have a little bit here and there. And the same thing with the physical relationships. So I think it's just kind of been intertwined this whole time. It's never been like just like one thing or the other. So yeah, and I think in just going forward, I do still, you know, the summer's coming up, you know, so I want to teach my son how to ride a bike, you know, so I got to get us bikes, and, you know, so just like the whole like being physically fit. Now it's like, okay, now I have the tools, so I was able to get rid of the bad stuff and get myself in a good position. But now is moving forward of endurance, you know. Now I know that I have to keep this up and maintain it.
Is there any, so now that you've made like this, you made a really big change by first going on this keto diet and then sticking with it, which I think is the grandest endeavor of all that you've done, sticking with it.
Yeah, I think I started with like June or July.
Wow.
So it's like almost a year now.
That's hefty.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Congrats. But, so you've gone through all of this, and do you see yourself continuing down the same path that you're on and just enduring, or do you feel like you're thriving and you want to continue with this or make a different change, whether that's regards to your diet or regards to fitness? How do you see like the future going about?
Yeah. Well, I definitely, my goal always was to just be fit. You know, I think in the beginning when I was like, you know, I don't care what I look like, I don't care about my weight, I just want to be strong. You know, that really was my, you know, I got a gym membership, you know, so I was like, okay, great. But yeah, it's really hard to build your strength when it's like all these little things aren't, like lined up. You know, if I didn't have the self-control, if I didn't have the time or management or something, you know, I would go to the gym for like 3 days in a row and be like, I'm tired, and then not go, you know. So
Really,
exactly. So it's like anything. It was just like a lot of like either yes or no. So now that I'm like, okay, I just really want to focus on the food and the carbs and the eating, and now that I know that I can sustain it, again, I know that I have to transition to a low carb because I can't stay on keto forever, because then if I just keep going, it's malnourishment, and then I'm on the other side, you know, instead of dealing with overweight, now I'm dealing with underweight. So I know that it's not a long-term thing. And it's like, I feel like I've been mentally preparing myself. It's like, I need to be able to have the carbs without overindulging again. But I think what I've decided, you know, the gym membership has helped me, you know, the fact that I know that I have this, I haven't been consistent with it, but I think it's a lot because of school. You know, it's easy to be like, oh, I'm studying, I'm at the library, I'm this. But I also know that I'm going to graduate eventually, you know. So it's really easy for me to know that it's like, oh, I'm not going to have school, so I'm going to be like just hanging out and doing this, and I have more time and more money to just go out and eat and have fun, you know. So it's like, okay, I know I don't want to set myself up for failure. So I guess my big change now is to get into a consistent, just like active routine, you know, whether it's that going to like the gym consistently or picking up a sport, any sort of like physical activity, you know, with me, with my friends, or with my son, because I know that the social thing has to be in there. If it's just like, I want to go to the gym by myself, it's really easy to like, want to do it for a little bit, but after a while, it's like it just feels so lonely. It's like, why am I even doing this? And that's not sustainable, and I know that because I tried that. You know, it's like it's been like a year that I've had a gym membership, and I know this has been so inconsistent.
Sure.
So I think the big change now, like I want to get into good routines where I'm active. You know, because again, the more you work, I'm burning more calories, so I am able to eat more. So it's like if I want to eat, I have to move. So it's like a win-win situation.
How do you think you're gonna go about finding a way of being more active, whether that is like in a social way or with your son? How do you think that you're gonna go about finding that?
Yeah, I guess like right now, like that's like I'm in like the planning phase of like what works with both like my life and my schedule and with the people around me. It just, for example, like the one thing is like, I want to get a bike. You know, me and my siblings used to share a bike. Now, like I'm a little older, so it's still like a teenage-sized bike or whatever.
Yeah.
I haven't ridden bikes with Lily since I was like a teenager. So now it's like, okay, if I get my son a bike and I get me a bike, it'll be like, a fun bonding moment between me and my son. You know, and also I'm also getting that activity that I wanted. And then if like, but I also know the summer is gonna end in like, August, September, so we need like indoor type things.
Sure.
So I feel like that's kind of what I'm looking at now, trying to see like my brothers or my friends, like the activity that they are in. Because I guess like it's easier to like join someone else's activity than find one on my own, since it's not something I've done. So that's kind of like my plan right now for the summer. It's like, okay, bikes with my son, probably going out to the park, all this stuff, and then just start asking those people around me, saying, like, oh, hey, can I join you? What is it that you do? Because I do hear friends saying that. Usually I just ignore, like, yeah, whatever. Like, ugh, like, that sounds like, you want to go running? Thanks. So it's things that I know that people around me do that I've always just kind of, like, ignored. But now I'm like, no, wait, like, I should probably join them. And I guess start asking, like, oh, semester's over in, like, 2-3 weeks. So it's a great time now to start making plans,
Yeah, definitely.
Where do you go and what do you do and let's do it together, because it's games. I feel like every sport essentially is a game between people.
And then just the social aspect. The social aspect is a big part, and I can tell it's important for you.
Yeah.
Both for you and for your son, just to stay active, because what you're going to be doing will eventually probably transfer to him.
Right, exactly. So I guess that's kind of just tentatively my plan. Just fighting sports with people, and I guess that kind of sounds fun. And again, I'll see like if it works or not. I have a year left of my membership, and then I have to decide whether I'm going to renew it, if it's actually something that's helping me, or if it's like not worth the money, and I'll just like focus on more social things.
Yeah. Has the gym been? How has the gym been useful at all, or has it been useful, or in what ways?
So I think in the beginning it was useful because it was a way for me to like focus. If I was like stressed, I would come home. I think usually they close like 11, so it's still pretty late. So I would go to work, I would go to school, and it's like after dinner. I put my son to bed. It's like 9, and I'm like, I got a couple hours. So I just get myself dressed, just go there.
Wow.
Or just like,
kudos.
Because I'm more of an evening person. So I know when I was like in college, like literally it's like 6:30. Everyone was like, hey, what are we doing? Like let's go do something fun. So that helped out a lot in the beginning to kind of like get that like the kickstart, and I like that my also gym, even if I'm like tired, it has a pool, so it's still like a social like or just like a not social activity. It's a just like a fun thing to do. So for example, I could just be like, I just want to go swimming. Just grab my swimming suit, just do a couple laps. Usually in the evening, like no one's there, So it's more like it is something that I could do if I want to work out. It's also something I could do if I just want to chill. They have a hot tub, they have a sauna, so I know it's a thing that I could just, de-stress. And just having that available to me, it's, I guess, even help, because sometimes, like, I won't go, but just knowing that I can go just helps, like, mentally. Like, I could probably go swimming today. And I'd be like, oh, I didn't get to, but that was okay. Just knowing that I had that possibility.
Opportunity to do it.
As opposed to if that was something that I wanted to do, I'm like, oh, where would I even go? There's nowhere close by, type thing.
It's nice that you have, even now, like, talking that you have, like, those options. So, like, even, like, with your brothers, so if you're looking for physical activity, that you do have somewhere to go. Yeah. And that it's not, like, an open-ended question, like, I want to go play, I want to go interact, but you don't have, like, any place to go. So it's nice that you do have a place to go.
Yeah.
So with your fitness and with your health, you've noticed that, I mean, you're making huge steps. It seems like you already have the plan. You have it set up, explaining both your transition from your keto to a low-carb diet. That's huge. Plans for like a better fitness life. That's huge. And then you have it planned out, and you've already made so many big changes. Do you feel that school is helping you with this, or how do you feel school is impacting all these changes?
Right. I think it's more like it's good. It has its good and it has its bad. Definitely the good part of it was, just going back to school and studying again. It's, of course, it's an added stress. Like it's, on top of working and on top of parenting. It's like, oh, I'm in school again, and I feel like every other day I'm like super stressed out. So that's kind of like the bad part of it. Also, it's like time consuming. It's easy to fit in the gym with my work time. It's harder to fit it in with school time because there's like assignments. Like, okay, I'm in class from this time to this time, but then I also have to study afterwards. So it's something like he's following me after. So I'll be glad when that's over. But at the same time, just going back to school and knowing that's like, not that I was worried about failing, but it's just like the thing over my head. It's like, I haven't been in school for like 4 years, so it's such a huge thing. And just knowing that, like, once I finally do it, I'm going to be like, fine, like, I've had this goal literally forever. I think I'll be, I'm 28 right now, and I'll be almost 29 once I graduate. And a bachelor's degree is usually something people do when they're 22, 23, and I have friends who, like, graduate and they're married and moved out and everything, and I'm like, so I feel like even though it's, like, adding stress into my life, it's something that's, like, I know I need to do, and just... Once I get that, like, I'm going to feel so great about it. Like, I suffered through that, and it was worth it, Sure. It's like, finally I have it. And I think just knowing that I was able to balance both school and this change, it's like, well, if I could handle, like, a diet or, like, exercise while I was in school and stressed, then of course I could do it while I'm working, type thing. It's like, because I'm working and in school right now. So it's like, once I get school off my plate, then I know I have no excuse. I know I can never tell myself, like, I'm just too busy to meal prep. I'm just too busy to go to the gym. Because I'm telling myself, like, what do you mean too busy? You did a year and a half of working and school and meal prepping and losing weight. And, so it's like, I know that I'm busy now and it's been stressful, but I've been able to do it. So just knowing that's like, oh, I did it and I can keep going. So I guess I'm hoping that it'll get, I know it's never going to be easy. But I know I can tell myself, like, well, you did it when school was a huge stress. Now that's off your plate. Therefore, you can still schedule it in, Sure. So I guess it helped me with, like, time management skills, and not to put it off so much. Because I think when you're just working, it's very easy to be like, oh, I go to work all day. Why would I want to go to the gym? I'm tired. I just want to go home and go to sleep, And that's a very easy thing to tell myself, or like, oh, I've been eating, carrots all day. Awesome cake, but it's like, I don't want to just go back to bad habits, type thing. So I guess just the knowledge of, even amongst your life being chaotic, you finish your degree. I guess that's very empowering.
So the motive behind going to school was to finish the degree? Sure.
Yeah, and I think just that idea is going to be like, hey, it's harder, it's like, I'm going to have more time, and just knowing that I did it. It's like, I could do
for
anything.
Yourself?
Yeah.
Sure.
I guess I'm hoping that's gonna be like, oh, I feel like I could do anything.
Sure. You can do anything.
Yeah, so.
You definitely can. So do you feel that somehow making the lifestyle change of, like, your diet did that impact you or motivate you to go into school, or is that, like, a separate event on its own? Because you said that the diet helped in, like, losing weight, made you feel more confident in, like, who you were. So is this, like, another step that you're taking to be more confident in yourself? Or how would you explain going back to school? Because you're saying it's for yourself.
Yeah. So, like, with my, like, I always knew, like, I mean, especially even at work, I always had that pressure of, like, oh, yeah, that's great. Like, my supervisor's like, yeah, you're a great tutor, but, like, don't stop here, I try to figure out. So I always had that, people encouraging me. And I feel like a lot of it was financial, financial reasons. So last year, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna apply, and there's a scholarship that they said like, okay, and it's partnered with USC, which is why I applied here. But it's like the way that it worked, I had to apply and get accepted to USC before I could even apply for the scholarship. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. Like I don't, I was scared. I was like, how am I even gonna manage? Because I'm working right now, I'm just taking time off. Like it just seemed like a lot of stress. But I feel like I just had enough supporting people to like just get it. Because the more I delay it, it's gonna be later and later and later. And I feel like it was just a lot of excuses and. I can still sit here and be like, it was so hard. Like, ugh, if I would have known it would be this hard, I probably would have been too scared to even start it. But it's like, oh, well, I'm in it now. I applied to USC, I got accepted, I applied to the scholarship, I got it. And I feel like once I had that, I was like, thank you. I was like locked in. I was like, now you have to go through it. There's no excuse now,
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like that idea of like getting accepted into university and, being offered a scholarship just was like the beginning thinking of like, I can do stuff.
Sure.
Because it was really around that time that I was like, okay, I wasn't okay where I was in my career, so I tried something and it worked, and then at the same time I was like, I'm also not okay how I am, like physically, like I feel like I'm being lazy, and I feel like I've allowed myself to be, because I wasn't even just overweight, I was like obese, to where I was like, my grandmother has diabetes and she's always struggled with it, some of my aunts have like high blood pressure and now they're, so I've seen people like in my family struggle with medication and this and that, and it's like, if I see them, like I already know better, so why am I letting myself kind of follow the same path of kind of like, this is just something we all struggle with, and we're all overweight and we're all obese and we all have diabetes, just saying like, like I can't keep
breaking the cycle.
Yeah, exactly. So then getting accepted to UIC was like the first big of like, you can do this, and you have to make a change. And I was like, okay. So that's what really like made me decide. And I tried like losing weight like just different like ways, but again in the beginning I was just googling something on the internet and trying it. I'm like, oh, it's not working, or I would get tired. There was a lot of like back and forth.
Sure.
So yeah, because that was like back in like January, February of like last year. I was like, I'm gonna try to lose weight, and nothing happened.
It's a thought.
Yeah, exactly. And like the gym was like around the spring, so that kind of helped. And then when I heard about keto, I was like, I'm gonna try it again. I was just trying different things, seeing what worked, what didn't work. And then, yeah, the keto thing ended up working out. I just kept sticking with it, and I saw the results. Like the first time, I was feeling amazing. I was like, woo! And then they're just like, that's just water weight. Like you have to keep going. And I'm like, yeah. But then it was another 10 pounds, another 5, and I'm 10. I'm like, okay. And I feel like it was the idea of setting realistic goals for myself. Thinking like, oh, I need to lose 100 pounds is not realistic because it just seems like an impossible feat. I think that once I started making realistic, just saying like, okay, just do 5, just do 10, and then see what works, what doesn't. I would try one diet and it didn't work. I would try something else and it didn't work. And then I tried keto and it worked for a little bit, and I was like, okay, well, let me keep going. And that's really because people are like, well, what's your goal? And I didn't want to make it long term because I knew that it was too easy to like make it too like impossible. So it's like, oh, just 5 more, maybe just 10 more, and the weight just kept coming off. And that's how I was thinking. I was like, one more month of this. To where now I'm technically at the goal that I thought, because I thought that this was impossible. Like I thought that reaching here, I was like, I'm never gonna reach that weight, but I'm just gonna say I'm going to. Yeah. And then the moment that I hit it, I'm like, I thought this was gonna be impossible, and it's not. But I know I'm still technically overweight. I'm still not where I want to be. I'm still not as active,
Sure.
But knowing it's like, okay, what I thought was impossible is not possible. So now I'm like, okay, so I'm still thinking of it as like, just one more month. I'm still very...
So when are you going to be doing that? It's one more month.
Like, what do you mean?
So like, what's the goal? The new goal.
Yeah, so, I think with everything that I learned, I'm like, okay, well, what is like a healthy like weight range for me? What am I comfortable with? I also don't want to be like too perfectionist. Be like, I have to be at this weight. Because I know that people's weight fluctuate. So right now, for example, if I stop now, I have to be comfortable saying like, let's say something happens and I gain 5-10 pounds for whatever reason. I have to be comfortable with that weight range. And I feel like if I'm not, then that means I could lose another 5-10. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I want to be in a pretty good like health range. So if I'm in the middle, let's say I get, whatever, it's like a holiday, I just want to party, whatever. Just like, if I gain 5 pounds, I don't want to like, oh no,
Yeah.
freak out over it. Cause I'm like, I'm still at a healthy weight range.
Yeah.
To where now it's like, since I just got myself out of that, obese range, I'm still borderline, so I'm like, it's still not healthy, so I want to get myself to, I'm like, if I'm somewhere towards the middle, then if I can say, like, oh, if I could lose, if I can gain 5'10", then that should be okay, because, 5'10" can go up and down literally within a week, for whatever factors.
True.
And that's just the way that I know that my body is, because I have seen myself, like Christmas and Easter, and my birthday and Thanksgiving, exactly. Because I definitely don't want to be so extreme to set like impossible goals,
Sure.
like never gain anything. No, it's not gonna work. I don't want to set myself up for failure. So I think that's really like my goal, to just get myself in that healthy weight range. Saying like, if where I am now, if I can gain 5, am I okay? Then okay, then I can stop. Because I definitely want to be wary of not being underweight, because I feel like that's really the danger with keto. It's so easy to lose the weight. And since I have done it for a year, it's like, okay, I lost 50 this year. Great. Can I lose another 50? No, I would be underweight. So I definitely don't want to do another full year of this. So that's why, like, it is becoming more short term. And so just like every month, I'm just trying to see, like where I am. This summer is going to be like, I guess like that's like my trial thing. I'm like, okay, what activity am I going to add onto my life to be more active? And if my metabolism does speed up a little bit more, then that's something new I would have to adjust to. I guess it's just trial and error.
So at this point, you got through a very exciting journey of self-discovery, so it seems, and just growing your confidence as a person, and then that's seemingly translating to pretty much every area of your life. Your relationships, which is amazing. Congrats. And then also, like, major lifestyle changes, like your diet, and now we're moving on to exercise, which you already have goals for, which is amazing. And I wish you all the best for your further endeavors. Thanks. And you're awesome. Thank you so much for taking your time. And that's it. Bye. Wow. You are inspirational.